What's up, y'all? In this video, I'll go over how to save projects on the Dirtywave M8 using the standard save function and using the bundle save function, which saves your project and the samples used in the project. There's a lot to cover, so let's check it out. Let's start with the standard method, saving a project from the project settings screen. So to save a project using this method, you just navigate to the project screen, then select save. You have to select a directory to save the project in, then you press edit to save it. But if you've previously saved your project in that folder, you'll see this text asking you if you want to overwrite the project file. As of firmware 6.2.0, overwriting the project will also create a backup of the project in the state it was in when you last saved it in a folder in the same directory called backup. So you can always revert to a previous version of the project by loading one of the backups. When you save a project, the project file will contain everything needed to restore your composition to the state it was in when you saved it. That includes settings on this project screen, like tempo and global transpose. It also saves all your MIDI settings and mappings, which you can access from the project screen here. So unlike some grooveboxes where MIDI settings are saved globally, on the M8 MIDI settings are saved per project. So if you've set up specific MIDI channels or routing, those will be stored when you save the project. The project save also includes the song page, chains, phrases, instruments, tables, and your mixer and effects settings. So if you're working on a track and want to preserve your progress, saving the project is what you'll be doing most often. However, there are a few things that don't get saved with the project. The most important omission is your actual samples called by your sampler instruments. The M8 only remembers the file paths to those samples. So if you move or delete the samples from your SD card, the project won't be able to play them anymore. In addition, the system settings, which you can access from the system settings menu in the project screen, are also not saved with the project. Which makes sense. You generally wouldn't want to load a new project and have your M8's theme or backlight brightness change. So saving a project is great for everyday use while you're still working on your songs. But once you're at a point where you want to archive your work and not have to worry about any broken sample file paths, it's a good idea to save the project as a bundle. So to save your project as a bundle, just go to the project screen and then under the export/share option, select bundle. A bundle is essentially a self-contained version of your project. When you save a bundle, the M8 creates a new folder inside the bundles directory on your SD card, and that folder contains three things: the project file, a folder with a copy of every sample used in the project, and a folder with all the instruments referenced in the project. This setup makes bundles ideal for archiving or sharing. Unlike regular project saves, bundles don't just remember where your samples are, they actually copy the samples into the folder. So even if you delete or move the original sample files, your bundled project will still work. And then for your instrument files, they actually aren't necessary for the bundle to function since instruments are already embedded in the project file itself. The crucial part is the samples folder. If you remove that, the bundled project's sampler instruments will no longer play correctly. There's also a unique behavior with bundled sampler instruments. They stop looking at your SD card's global sample directories and instead reference only the samples folder inside the same directory as the bundled project file. So if you move the bundle to another folder, you must move the samples folder with it. So here I've moved the bundle project outside the folder it created. I loaded the moved project, and now when I press play, it's silent. That's because there's not a samples folder in the same folder as the project I moved for the sampler's instrument to reference. And when I go to try to load the samples from my sampler instrument, it brings me to the default sample directory instead of the folders with the samples. And the only way to break the relative reference behavior is to go to the sampler instrument in the project and then point the samples to the correct directory, which can be a time-consuming process. So after this point, with all the sampler instruments pointed to a specific sample in a folder, if you save the project, then the bundle sampler instrument behavior will be removed, so you won't need to have the samples folder next to it. So basically, the standard save is what you'll be using the most, but the bundle save is good when you want to back up or share your work, since you can also send your bundle folder to other people, and they can open the projects on their M8 with no issue. And there's one other project with special properties, the template project. This project will load anytime you select the new option from the project screen. So creating a template is useful if you find yourself frequently changing the same settings when working on new projects, such as MIDI settings, loaded M8 instruments, or the song layout. So you can see in my template, my song page is set up so that there are chains that have the same number as the track number they're on. And then I also have a sampler instrument as the first instrument, since I mostly work with samples. At any point, you can save your current project as a template by navigating to the system settings from the project screen, and then selecting the Song Template Save function. And if you select Clear, then the template will revert to the default blank song. So before doing this or overwriting your current template, it's a good idea to save your current template to a separate place using the Save function on the project settings screen. That way you can manage multiple templates, and you won't lose a template if you accidentally overwrite it or clear it. So those are the basics of saving projects on the Dirtywave M8, as a bundle or as a standard save. The standard save is quick and easy, and the bundle is good for long-term security or portability if you want to share your work. And that does it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.